Hello everybody and welcome back to SkySaga Alpha 7! We are over here on the tutorial island and we're here with Boomkin.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Okay, and so today we are going to be looking at what is the fastest, and in this case we're looking at what is the fastest to build a wall. So we're going to be testing a whole bunch of different things today. We're going to be testing the gloves of placing versus the boots of solid ground. We're also going to be testing whether walking or flying is fastest for the boots of solid ground, and then we're also going to be testing to see if blood iron has any effect on how fast you can place blocks down with the boots. So what we're going to do is I'm going to kit Boomkin out in all of the stuff that is currently in my rucksack here. As you can see, I've got a couple of different breastplates of free flight. I've got a couple of different boots. I've got a nice set of hurtful gauntlets of holing, and then we've also got some pickaxes of range, also made out of the iron and the blood iron. So we're going to be using all of these and seeing which of those combinations is fastest to help build things up. So I think we'll hand over some of the stuff to Boomkin and get started.
Alrighty, sounds like a good experiment to me.
Okay, so I think the first experiment we're going to do iron boots and iron gloves and see which ones of those are faster.
Alrighty, so I guess I'll start with the boots first.
So, gloves in 3, 2, 1, go. So gloves are slower, I think. Like, they do seem slower, at least from this angle.
Yeah? I mean, I'm only placing one block at a time. Because if you try to place 2 blocks at a time using the gloves, I find it gets really...
So flying, ready, set, go.
How was that? Did I miss one?
Okay, and so now it's time to try out the blood iron stuff and see if this blood iron stuff actually does increase Boomkin's ability to run up and down and place blocks as fast as he possibly can.
Alright, we'll give it a go.
Okay, so blood iron and flying. 3, 2, 1, go.
Go. Right, placed. Aha, there we go. Oh, really? Wow,
Yeah, that's odd, and I haven't seen that in any of the other stuff, so maybe it is something to do with the blood iron.
Oh, maybe it is, yeah. I mean, I find, because if I fly like that, it does work. It depends which way you're looking. So I'm looking down, like you would normally when you're building. So for example, if I'm building this layer now, I will look at the stone below, so I place on the stone, and that's kind of how I'm used to building. But to place, you kind of have to fly straight, and then just pray that the blocks are being placed below you. See
Yeah,
now, if I do it, it'll work, right?
yeah, that's working.
But I can't physically look at the blocks I'm placing. It's just really, really strange.
Yeah, that
That's
is
really
that's very strange.
it's not an easy way to build, I can tell you that, because you have no visual way of knowing if the blocks are placing behind you. Wow.
Yeah. So there you go. It looks like the fastest way to build is to fly and place blocks at the same time, but it is also the hardest way to build. So
Most definitely.
good luck to anybody who attempts to fly and build walls. I know from experience that flying and building floors isn't too bad because if you're building a floor, you don't really need to know exactly where you're placing blocks down, but
Oh,
flying and building a wall is definitely a lot more difficult than that.
yes, definitely. Especially if you're trying to elevate yourself and change what level you're building on, or if you hit a wall, then it becomes a lot trickier. But if you're just, yeah, for example, if I'm on here, I can just, oh no, elevate a bit. I'm gonna place some blocks now.
Yeah, you were placing blocks.
It's really difficult. You've got to get that right level because you're not running along the stone to place because you're flying. So you have to almost imagine where the blocks are, if that makes sense. It's like, are you one block above what you're trying to place, or are you just too far down? It's not placing. For example, I can place there, but if I now, no, I can't go down.
You can hit control to go down, I think.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. You can indeed hit controls go down, kind of, but it's not easy when you're flying.
Hmm.
Wow, yeah, it gets. Oh, I've made your island a mess.
That's right. It's a tutorial island. It is supposed to be made a mess of for the purposes of teaching people stuff. So that is fine.
It's tricky, but if you can master it, it'd be an amazing way to build.
Absolutely,
Just
and
need
I think.
practice, I guess.
And I think you're right. I think it's to do with the fact that if you aim slightly down, you start kind of going into the block below you, which means that if you are going too fast and the blocks aren't placing correctly, you're going to end up inside that block, and then that block is not going to place.
That is exactly right. And if you fly too high, then you'll be building at a higher level than you want.
Yeah, and if you fly too high as well, you kind of start like being half in the block that you're supposed to be standing on, I guess, which means that it's not going to place there either. So one of those things that it's a difficult thing to try and do, but if you can do it right, it is going to work really well. So now I need to go through and actually kind of analyze that footage. So we've kind of run through and had a look at all of this stuff, and we did see that flying was the fastest. I don't know yet if Bloodstone has had any effect on that, but I will go through this footage. And I'll probably make a cut here in just a second and then talk about exactly how fast each of these techniques was. And then, yeah, we'll have a final definitive answer as to the fastest way to build in SkySaga. But as we've seen, it may not be the most accurate way of building in SkySaga.
Definitely.
So, just taking a quick look over that footage, and it turns out that, yes, so flying was the fastest, but you guys probably should have seen that from the side-by-sides that I did going through this video. So flying was definitely faster than walking and placing by hand, which is really cool. It's always good to know. As Boomkin said, there are a few issues with it, so it's something you probably need to master to be able to use effectively, but it's something that you can have in your repertoire now, and you know that it's out there and you can do that if you want to do that. Now, obviously, as you saw, we had a little bit of difficulty getting the blood iron stuff to work. There was some kind of small hiccup where one of the blocks wasn't placing correctly, and it was just a bit of a pain. But Boomkin still did manage to get a couple of layers done. So basically, I looked at the times that it took to get a single layer done, just the middle layer done, between the iron flight and the blood iron flight. And what I can say is that they're actually pretty identical. They both took around about 2 seconds, and they are fractions of a second difference, and the blood iron is fractions of a second faster, but it is really, really not that much difference at all. So realistically, personally, I would say save your blood iron for your armor and your weapons and things like that, and stick with good old grey iron for your building. But anyway, that is it for this week's tutorial. I hope you guys have enjoyed that and learned something, and I will see you in the next episode.